Trinidad. No. Yeah, that's Trinidad. But let me go back to the history of the word nationality. The root word of nationality is nation. Nation goes back to ethnic group. Where is the nationality now? African. Who tell you it's African? Come on, you from now. What is the signs on them? Who tell you it's African? You decide. Can a Chinese man get up and you know what? Today I think I'm going to be a nigger. No, you can't do that. So then how can you decide your own race? No. When you check race, what do they check? They check the characteristics. And when you deal with classifications of animals and plants, they look for similar characteristics, right? We look at the bone structure, the structure of the brain, the features, the skin, the hair, the color eyes and these things, right? Characteristics. Now, they call us Negroes. Well, let me give you something that the scholars know that nobody else seems to know. Give me these on the one compact Bible dictionary. Give me Ham. Because the teachers in church is that we are descendants of Ham, yeah? You ever hear that? You ever hear that in church? Alright. The teachers in church is that we are descendants of Ham, right? Yeah, they actually, let me say it this way. In the Pentecostal church, for a surety, they tell you the descendants of Ham. I was in a Pentecostal church before. Tell you, we are Gentiles and your descendants are Ham, and Ham was cursed with dark skin. Look, brother, give me a flyer so you get some reading.
This is a compact Bible, Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Ham, the youngest son of Noah. Born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood.
Now, the 8 persons were Noah, his 3 sons, and all of their wives. 8 people, right? Read.
He became the progenitor of the dark races.
So the word progenitor goes back to your forefather. He became the forefather of the who?
Of the dark races. Not the Negroes. The Negroes.
He became the forefather of the dark races, but not the Negro. What do they call us? They built us from quite back in the 1600s. Read.
But the Egyptians
Come from Ham.
Ethiopians
Come from Ham.
Libyans
Libyans come from Ham.
and Canaanites.
But what do they all have in common? Where they all live? On the greater continent of Africa, right? The continent itself. He said, but not the Negroes. But that's where they just call us. So then who are we then? Big question. Now, in the book of Deuteronomy, Moses wrote the book of Deuteronomy. He was speaking to who? The Israelites in the wilderness, right? Give me verse 28 and 50.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15.
Right.
But it shall come to pass,
But it is going to happen
if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
if the Israelites will not have to the word of the Lord their God,
to observe to do all his commandments, to observe to do all his commandments,
not willing to know and then do put it into action. Read.
and his statutes, which I command thee this day,
Read.
that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Speaking to the Israelites, say, if you don't do the commandments, all these curses will come upon you and overtake you, meaning they're going to lay upon you, right?
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed.
Destroyed physically, but mentally and spiritually. That's why as a people, we still don't know our true identity, our heritage, our culture. We don't know none of these things, right? Read on.
Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Our God,
to keep his commandments, to keep his commandments,
keep his commandments
and his statutes,
and the statutes
which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign.
So the curses will be upon us for a sign. And we know a sign denotes location or identity or something, right? Go on.
And for a wonder,
For a wonder,
and upon thy seed forever.
and upon thy seed forever. So give me 43 now.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 43.
Read.
The stranger that is within thee
So he said the other nations that are within thee
shall get up above thee very high,
shall get up above you Israelites very high.
and thou shalt come down very low.
We will come down very low. The Israel will come down very low.
He shall lend to
He
thee,
will lend to thee,
and thou shalt not lend to him.
and we will not lend to him. Now, in Trinidad, here where we live, the other nations, are they below us, level with, or above us? Above. Some of them, or all of them? All. He said, the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He will lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. Give me verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters
Your sons and your daughters
shall be given unto another people,
shall be given unto another people.
and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
And what?
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
Now, whose sons and daughters were taken from them and given to another race of people? Did it happen to us? Did it happen to anybody else? Give me verse 41.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters,
Make sons and daughters.
but thou shalt not enjoy them.
You have kids? Not yet, you have kids. Remember when your son, when you're first born and you don't start walking like, oh cool, my boy getting bigger, like, hey, my son walking by, my son started walking, started talking and thinking, taking that pleasure, taking that joy in it. You say, but you will what? Not enjoy it.
But thou shalt not enjoy them,
Not enjoy them, why?
for they shall go into captivity.
You will what?
Go into captivity.
So the volume of the trade involved.
Entrepreneurs thought the more we cram aboard the ship, the more we're going to have to walk off on the other end. They were the tight packers. Others said, if you treat these people a little bit better, they're more likely to live. We're going to cram fewer into a ship. They were the loot packers. Slaves shackled together below decks often had no more than about 24 inches, with very little room and often lying in their own filth because of the way that they were shackled together.
Dr. Alexander Falconbridge practiced on board British slave ships. In 1788, he wrote about becoming physically ill after spending only 15 minutes in a slaver's hold.
When I had to enter the slave deck, I was forced to crawl over the slaves. The Negroes are frequently packed so close together that they have not so much room as a man in his coffin. I was so overcome with the heat, dense and foul air, that I nearly fainted. It was only with assistance I could get on deck.
Hundreds of Africans were forced to use 3 or 4 large buckets as toilets.
Our wretched situation was aggravated by the filth of the necessary tubs into which the children often fell and almost suffocated. O lauda equiano.
The intense body heat created a thick, wet steam that hung in the air like fog. The stench often preceded them into port.
taken and given to another people. Verse 68.
Deuteronomy,
47.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 47.
Read.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God
Because we didn't serve the Lord our power, read.
with joyfulness
With joyfulness,
and with gladness of heart,
with the gladness of our heart.
for the abundance of all things.
But everything we have, life, health, strength, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, possession, all these things come from the Most High. Right? Go on.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies,
So we didn't thank him. He said, I will make us serve your enemies instead. Read.
which the Lord shall send against thee,
Who send enemies?
which the Lord shall send against thee,
Read.
in hunger,
So when we're hungry, you walk KFC. We have to go KFC for food, right? So when we're hungry, we have to go and serve our enemies. But does our people own KFC? They're working there, but we don't own it. So in hunger, we have to go in the grocery chain and Sunita and them own the groceries. It's not our people. So we have to serve our enemies in hunger, read.
and in thirst,
Sometimes you drink a little stag, you drink a little juice, you drink a little water. Our people do not own these companies. We have to serve our enemies. You understand? Read on.
and in nakedness.
So the clothes you have on Adidas pants, you have on a nice little polo. Did our people make that? If you say, no, what I'm buying the clothes, I want to buy the cloth and I will sew it myself. Where you going? Jimmy Abu, the textile king. Mansour, Fabricland. Do our people own these places? No, it's the Syrians own these places. Read.
And in want of all things.
So you went to you went tertiary education, right? But who set up that educational system? Whose curriculum do we follow? Is it our people's curriculum? No. They have a system for their children and they force us to conform to it. That's why you have such a high failure rate amongst our people. Because the way that we learn is not the way that they learn. We learn by seeing things. They don't give them just write characters on a board and expect it. We need to do things in order for us to learn. That's why we're so good at practical stuff like woodwork, metalwork. We're very good at that because it's something hands-on. That's why we have to have this image here because the scripture reads it out in it's written in the Bible. But our people don't understand until they actually see the image. Now we're not telling you to bow down and worship this picture, but it's a pictogram depicting what is said in the scripture because our people learn by sight. Read on.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
The slave trade as a whole.
The Atlantic slave trade first affected West Africa in the 1400s, when Portuguese navigators began to explore the African coast. Eventually, the Portuguese, British, Dutch, French, and Spanish were all involved in the trade. However, it was England's mastery of the sea that led to its domination of the slave trade, which spread across West Africa over time.
Commodities are shipped from Europe to West Africa to buy slaves. Slaves are taken to the Americas to grow sugar. Those crops are then shipped to Europe, where they're manufactured for re-export to Africa to buy slaves. Goods, commodities are shipped from Europe to West Africa to buy slaves. Slaves are taken to the Americas to grow sugar. Those crops are then shipped to Europe, where they're manufactured for re-export to Africa to buy slaves.
Ships loaded with cloth, rum, and firearms left Europe for Africa. At points along the coast, Europeans met with sellers and struck deals exchanging these goods for enslaved Africans. Most of the Africans taken as slaves were adult men for childbearing. Children were not desirable. Traders could not sell them at as high a price. The Europeans treated the enslaved Africans like cargo. They were locked inside cells for weeks until they were forced to march to ships that would take them across the ocean. It could take from 25 to 90 days. At night, slaves were kept below deck in extremely confined conditions. They had far less space than prisoners transported on the same ships. The traders saw it as simple economics. They crammed as many Africans into the ship as possible and sold those who survived for the largest possible profit. The British slave ship Brooks broke all the records for the most slaves transported in one voyage when it carried 609 Africans stuffed into a ship meant to hold 300. Men were kept shackled at all times. Even crew members were shocked by the conditions in the slave holds. Alexander Falconbridge, a ship surgeon, commented,
When I had to enter the slave deck, I was forced to crawl over the slaves. The Negroes are frequently packed so close together that they have not so much room as a man in his coffin. I was so overcome with the heat, stench and foul air that I nearly fainted. It was only with assistance I could get on deck.
Slaves shackled together below decks often had no more than about 24 inches, with very little room and often lying in their own filth because of the way that they were shackled together.
the Middle Passage was the route followed by the slave ships across the Atlantic. Most ships transported Africans from the coast of West Africa to Brazil or the West Indies. Only about 5% of their human cargo came to the United States. A typical slave ship could travel to the Middle Passage in 5 to 12 weeks. For the traders, the formula was simple: cramming as many Africans as possible into a ship and then delivering them to the market alive equaled the greatest possible profit. But that was also the traders' dilemma. How could they make sure that all the Africans would...
Those enemies will put a yoke of iron upon your neck. Now, which race of people had these yokes of iron upon their neck? I want the pictures out there, what they're coming from needed to see. Our people had these yokes of iron upon their neck. And we have it meant, hold on.
Until you have destroyed thee.
So when you destroy it fully, he take off the yoke. And like a dog, you have a leash that is 6 feet long. Every day he run, he reaches back, he pull back. After a while, he can take off that leash and he will run and stop because he expecting that chain to pull him back. Even though the chain gone, that's what happened. In slavery, when our people escaped the slave plantation, guess where they ran? They ran to the mountains, right? Like Laventil, like Arima, like Diego Martin, like Caranaj, like San Fernando, like Moruga, right? When you go today, what people predominantly living in those areas? Because we have been trained to stay in those areas. Where you live? Laventil. It doesn't feel weird when you're outside and you're watching people's legacy. I only feel safe home. People are talk bad about Laventil as much as you, but that's the only place that feel safe. Because you're amongst your own people. You know what to expect of them. You don't know what's going down in Shawanas. You're down there, you head on a swivel right to you. You're like, why are you moving? Because you're jumping in these areas. That is also a curse. Give me, where you have no, I will fear day and night. 65? 65, yes.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 65. And among these nations,
So when you're among these nations,
shalt thou find no ease.
you will find what?
No
You will
ease.
find no ease. Read.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
Say you will have no rest in the sole of your foot. Read.
But the Lord shall give thee there
Say he will give you there.
a trembling heart.
What?
A trembling heart.
Give you that trembling heart, meaning a fearful heart. Read.
And failing of
And
eyes.
a what?
Failing of
A
eyes.
failing of eyes.
And
Read.
sorrow of mind.
And sorrow of mind because you have nobody to trust in. Read.
And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. And thou shalt fear day and
You
night.
will fear how?
Day and night.
Day and night. Read.
And shall have none assurance of thy life.
Read on.
In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even.
Boy, I can't wait for evening to come now, boy. Cheers. And when is what?
And at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning.
Boy, I can't wait for the sun if I come up. Sometimes in your bed sleep and your head up. You in your bed. Oh, you might say, well, I wonder if I'm trying to break in, boy. I wonder if the police. I wonder if somebody trying to kill me. Is that the one that you don't get the dog back in and your mind starts to scream, you sorrow and mind. But who suffers these things today? Our people, right? But who the Bible talking about here? The Israelites. So if the signs and the curses actually signs to identify who the Israelites are, that means who are we? No, Leviticus chapter 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Followed by the slave ships across the Atlantic. Most ships transported Africans from the coast of West Africa to Brazil or the West Indies. Only about 5% of their human cargo came to the United States. A typical slave ship could travel to the Middle Passage in 5 to 12 weeks. For the traders, the formula was simple: cramming as many Africans as possible into a ship and then delivering them to the market alive equaled the greatest possible profit. But that was also the traders' dilemma. How could they make sure that all the Africans...
So what does the word Egypt mean? Because the biblical name for the place is Mizraim or Matazaria in the Hebrew. But here he tells us what the definition of Egypt means. A Greek word, Egyptos, which means what?
The book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2.
Read.
I am the Lord thy God,
I am the Lord thy God,
which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt,
who brought you out of the land of Egypt,
out of the house of bondage.
out of the what?
Out of the house of bondage.
That's what Egypt actually means. It means house of bondage. So when he says, I will bring you into Egypt again, it means I'll bring you into slavery again, because the Israelites, did we come out on ships out of Egypt? No, we walked out because Israel is connected, it's part of Africa, right? The northeastern sector of Africa. But he said what? I'll bring you to where?
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
I'll bring you into bondage, slavery, or captivity again.
By the
with
way,
ships.
by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
Exactly how Moses said it here is exactly how it came to pass. Go on.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
So you will not see it anymore again in your homeland.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
And when you come off the ship, you will be sold, not unto your friends, but unto your enemies. Read.
For bondmen
For slave man
and bondwomen.
and slave woman.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man shall redeem you. Right here, Makanda and them try to uplift the black spirit here in Trinidad. Because the black power prize. Remember those times? Like, you will remember. And what happened to it? It fizzled out then. Because no man shall redeem thee or save thee out of this place. They tried to free our minds back then. But they wasn't happening because no man can do it. Only the Messiah could do it. And he's not coming back as a... Remember the last time he came, they killed him? Give me Isaiah 47 and verse 3. Remember that they are prophecy of what he's coming back as. Because they say no man shall redeem thee or buy you or save you out of this captivity, right? Isaiah 47 verse 3.
The book of Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 3.
Read.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Talking about Babylon the Great, it's not only America, but it's also extending to these because we follow the philosophies of America, right? Go on.
Thy shame shall be seen.
Their shame shall be seen for what they did to our people. Read.
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
You will what?
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
Because no man shall buy you. He's come back in his full strength, power, and glory to redeem us from this place. He's not coming back as a man. Wait to snatch him and put him on a cross again and stab him in the waist. That ain't happening. He's come back with full power, glory, and authority. Give me Daniel 9 and 10.
The book of Daniel chapter 9 and verse 10. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God.
Read.
To walk in his law,
To walk in his law. Read.
which he said before us by his servant, the prophet.
Go on.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law,
All Israel have transgressed thy law. Read.
even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice.
Read.
Therefore, the curse is poured upon us,
Therefore the curse is poured upon us. The curse is we're reading in Deuteronomy that he's talking about, right? To make it clearer, go on.
and the oath that is written.
Now, where's the oath? A vow or a promise, right? He say, and the oath, that is what?
That is written in the law of Moses,
That is written in the law of Moses.
the servant of God,
Right.
because we have sinned against him,
Read.
and he had confirmed his words,
Confirm meaning he brought it to pass. Go on.
which he spoke against us,
He spoke again. If you break these commandments, you will go into slavery upon those ships. Go on.
and against our judges, that judge us
Right.
by bringing upon us a great evil.
By bringing upon us a great evil. This is the great evil is talking about God.
For under the old heaven
Under the whole heaven
had not been done
has not been done,
as had been done
as had been done
upon Jerusalem.
upon the children of Jerusalem. This has never been done to anybody else on the face of the earth. Give me Jeremiah 17:4. Which race of people on the earth today, or throughout all times, they didn't know where they're from, they don't know their true name, they don't know their true language, they don't know their culture, they don't know where their land is. What people? Only us.
The book of Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself,
And you, even yourself,
shall discontinue
will discontinue from what?
from thy heritage,
From your what?
from your heritage,